Hi, everyone, and welcome to this risk management webinar or the live demo that we have scheduled for today. Thank you for joining. And my name is Monica. I will be showing you the Risk Manager Plus and some of the functionalities that you can find using this app. It's very customizable. So if you have any questions during this demo, please make sure you get them addressed by asking us on, or me, I'm just alone today, asking me via chat or raising your question in the Q&A format that you can see in the below on the action menus. And if you're newer or have not been using Zoom for a while, you are also very welcome to use reactions to share your feelings during the demo. Let's get going. We have a lot to cover. I'm aiming to cover most of it within 45 minutes, which is the scheduled time. And yeah, let's get rolling. And let me know if you have any questions there when we go on. Okay, I will start sharing the screen. And in advance to some of the most repeating question is if the recording will be available. Yes, it will be available right after we have finished the demo and the recording has been downloaded. So we are looking into Atlas Marketplace, and we are looking into SoftComply Risk Manager Plus today. This is the most advanced risk management app that you can find on Jira. Don't mind saying it myself. I'm very proud of our team's work. Some of the elements here I want to draw your attention to is that we are a gold marketplace partner. That means that we have been here for a long time, 8 years, and we have an active support and we have enough customers that we are serving. And also one element here is maybe the reviews. Is important to see how happy the existing users are with the app. So I'm happy to share the scoring is pretty high for Risk Manager Plus. Also, security-wise, cloud fortified is always something you want to look after, forward to have in every app on Atlas Marketplace. That means the company is participant of this cloud security program. It has completed the reliability checks, and we have active support to address any of your issues that you want to raise to our team. But let's see some. First of all, let's see what is the value for you in general if you are thinking about managing risks in Jira. Well, Jira is a collaboration platform, first and foremost, of course. So using Jira instead of maybe Excel to manage your risks means that you hold your team accountable without being a constant snag, without asking them where they are, because you can see immediately where they are in a dynamic form. And of course, this speeds up your risk management efforts. This speeds up the team has the same awareness level at all times. And as I said, continuous support and maintenance is, of course, something you will expect from a cloud app like this one. And this we are sure to get to you. Now let's jump into Jira itself. Now, what I'm showing you right now is a project that is configured for this particular purpose, of course. It's pretty advanced configuration here. Don't be hesitating. There are many templates to get you started. Using them during your trials, you will have an easier start, but just want to showcase a bit what you can do when you learn more and more about your needs for risk management and of course about what the app functionalities are. Just to show you here, you can design any Jira project type. This particular one is a software project. There are many options for you there. You will still be able to use all the Jira functionalities, of course, including the timeline, Kanban, Scrum. Any type of projects can be used for collaboration purposes. But for the risk management elements, when we are talking about risk management, we want to see a risk model First, what puts in place the framework, how you assess your risks, what are the characteristics that you are assessing during your risk management. And of course, as a risk manager, we always like this bit of Excel, we always like that in front of us, so you can always get a full list of risks, where they are, how they are managed, what is the status, and so on. So this is not a one-off activity usually, this is an ongoing process. So for this, we have included also risk table view. So let's first look at the risk models here. You can see here actually many risk models applied to a single project. Again, this is something where you can start with just one type of risk model. Don't worry about the setup so much here. If needed, we can always have a specific discussion, specific follow-up call with you, how to implement your needs to Jira specifically. We are always here to talk to the customers about their specific requirements. So you can see here there is a simple matrix, very often used for risk management: probability, impact, severity, likelihood. These kind of words might trigger some initial thoughts for you when we are talking about risk management. But you can build, using this app, you can also build more complex risk assessment models like RPN, which stands for score-based risk model, where you can have actually multiple different characteristics that you might want to include. Some of the scoring can be lower or higher. You want to prioritize something, you can create this kind of risk model using Risk Manager Plus as well. Even in some cases, you want to include something like a checklist. Is there a certification in place? Are they doing pen testing? We can talk about this in a separate session as well, how to do maybe a supplier checklist using Risk Manager Plus as well. And what you can see here as well, that you can do multiple iterations of risk management. So iteration, how we see it, is often there is a need to establish and keep the initial assessment of the risk. So inherent risk assessment, what is the risk level if nothing is done about it? So we have not put in place any controls, we are not doing any actions to reduce the risk level, we are just keeping it as it is. So this is the initial risk level, but you can do multiple steps as you go on. You can do also, what is my current stage? What is the target where I want to, what I want to achieve with this specific risk? So these kind of steps, initial, current, target, post-marketing, whatever is your need, you can build these iterations using the risk models. Again, this the configuration part I will jump into a bit later. Now I'm just showing you what you can see when the risk management is already enabled in a project, and if your team members and you are already working on this. So you can see the hyperlinks here. These are the risks these are the issues, Jira issues, that have been assessed as high risks or minor or moderate. Just a practical overview. How many risks do you have, where they have landed as per your risk model? Let's look at the risk table now. So the risk table is the Excel field that we sometimes miss in Jira. So in Jira, you can have lots of different views. You can work with a single issue, you can work with a list, but in this table, you can incorporate having an overview of your risk progress. Again, iterations, initial and target, initial and current. You can visualize this in a single column. We call it risk progress. You can call it differently, but in practice, it will be showing you in this visual format how this particular risk has been assessed by you or your team members. Each issue, of course, has a unique key, so you don't need to be thinking about how you identify uniquely each risk anymore. You just create one and it will have a unique key. These fields, how you describe your risk. I will be showing you different setups here. This is completely customizable. You can add risk descriptions, you can add risk owners, you can have more and more data about the risks. Sometimes it's very necessary to include as much data so all of the team members will understand it in the same way. And sometimes you need to even include categories or departments. Everything like this is achievable, of course, using Jira. What comes with the model and with the Risk Manager Plus app in general are now the characteristics. They are used in a simple drop-down. I will show you how to configure it when you start off. But basically, all these levels, again, very highly customizable, but the user will be having an easy job to just pick one. And if they have picked a relevant impact and probability levels based on their assumption, of course, the risk class will be calculated automatically based on the risk model that is applied here. Again, something you can do with current impact and so on. But what is the true benefit of Jira is now linking it to other actions, other issues in other projects in Jira. So you can see here the mitigation action type of column is created, and you can start adding links to different items in Jira by just entering the keys to these, and you will be able to select from existing keys. If you don't have this action defined yet in any of the projects, just create it and then make a link between these two issues. And very often, the same way, a verification action needs to be captured here. Have we done some testing that this in fact works, the mitigation actions? So these verification actions can also be linked to a specific risk, and then you have the overall traceability, how these specific risks are linked to other items in Jira, showing you the overview. It just groups the traceability column groups the different link types together, so you know which are the mitigation actions, which are the verification actions, and also a good thing that you see always the status here. Where are they? Some of the usability features you can always drag around in your table. So you maybe noticed already my table is a bit messed up. So I'm dragging and dropping it to a right position. So I'm putting maybe the summary here. I can drag also the department risk owner to the right places. And I can also have do something like filtering. I can filter any of the columns. I can also set a pinned column. This is very similar to freeze panes in Excel. Again, I'm Excel-based half of my life, so it's a useful feature when you have a table that becomes quite long horizontally. So you can always keep something that is relevant to you in the front and work with something in the end of the table. Working with the table, very easy. Just click anywhere you want to edit the data, inserting some blurb here. And if you save it, it's there. You can always use checklists, select lists in Jira. All this is feasible. And if you want to create a new one, you can always create a new risk to the table. When you start off and your configuration is done, your table is here, but you have data in Excel that you want to use, it's a simple job to create it in a nice CSV format. We have instructions how to do that exactly, and you can import your existing CSV into the table, so you can bulk import all your existing risks to Jira and take it onwards there. A quick word about quick filters as well. If you have bigger teams, bigger departments, different types of risks that you want to quickly filter to, you are of course able to always use the filters here. But as a project manager, you can also create quick filters for your team. Just to show this off in a quick second, you go to project settings for this one. Under the apps, you will find the risk management settings. And here it's just for you to apply a quick JQL that you want to maybe most often search the JQL and design it as your quick filter. So you can remove or replace the existing ones, which are only my issues or recently updated one. You can replace them with your custom query. Overall, the risk management settings in the project settings will be showing the entire settings from the risk management point of view. So we are looking into the project settings right now. But again, something we can discuss separately, not maybe applicable for this general live demo at the moment. Now, as you can see here, there are different tabs to this table. Again, this is something maybe you don't want to do initially. You are perfectly fine with one risk model, one risk table, very good. But just to show you that you can achieve a multiple risk tables in a single project. So very often risk managers, especially in smaller organizations, they need to cover different types of risk management methods for the organization. So organizational risks, information security, cyber security, vendor assessment. There are a multitude of different processes where the risk management is an element of this process. So you can take them into a single umbrella or a single project. You don't need to switch between projects using Risk Manager Plus and generate this multi-tab table that you can use for different type of risk management. And worth to note here, each tab is connected to a different risk model. So for organizational risk, we use one sort of two-dimensional matrix. For information security, we use another format of risk model. And maybe for, just to show quite quickly, for supplier tech security assessment, we are using this checklist that I discussed before. Are they certified? Do they perform pen testing, vulnerability, and so on? So your procurement team can have a quick understanding what they are, what the vendors are in terms of security trust level. But one more thing before we go to the how to do it exactly is maybe worthwhile to stay here for the information security. It's very interesting to many organizations at the moment how to implement ISO 27001, NIST, SOC 2. These different information security frameworks ask you to perform full security analysis in terms of your assets, in terms of your processes, your relationships with customers, with suppliers. So here we have applied an asset-based information security risk assessment, and we are using one of our built-in instruments to do that. We are using objects. So this is a bit maybe advanced option in Jira, but you will be able to build your internal little databases. And we have, again, some templates to get you started, especially for assets and existing controls that are listed in the standard itself in 27001. All these controls are listed for you already. It's up to you to start using them and linking them to relevant risks. But these objects you can control yourself. Again, something that I will show you just in a minute. But inside the table, the user experience is that if the column is configured to include objects registers, then the user can simply go and pick an asset from the existing list that you centrally control, but the other users can start using. So here you will be able to select by the name and the code. Again, it's up to you to decide what you want to display on the table, but using the arrow here will allow the user to see all fields that are entered for this specific object. And also the linked issues, which other issues are linked to this specific object. But the other values here, what you want to manage as your risk descriptions as owners, as causes of threat and vulnerability. It's again something you can configure fully. We have a template specifically for ISO 27001. You're welcome to start with that as well, and you can build it further if the need is there. But from risk management perspective, you have the model applied here. The user can just choose the relevant likelihood consequences. Class will be calculated, and the treatment control then usually it's very much linked to specific controls that are listed in the text of the standard, in the annex of the standard. So you have a ready-made list, as I mentioned, and your user can then choose the relevant control to be linked to this risk specifically, to this asset specifically. And now the rest of the work is, again, linking it to other tests of controls, other tasks in your Jira, with sharing with your colleagues, with your team, and then assess the current likelihood, current consequences after you have done something to mitigate or reduce the risk level. If just a quick note for the ones who are maybe working in MedTech, then of course our background is also very much MedTech based. Let me see if I have it open. Not yet. So let's take a quick example of a MedTech. You can see that the layout is a bit different. It's using a different type of project. It's a work management project in Jira, but you will still have under the apps, you have risk management options there. And using the risk management options, you will have access to the risk model and risk table. And just to showcase here, very often MedTech is doing for their products that they are working on, the medical devices, they are doing hazard analysis or failure modes or both. And these are the templates that we have pre-built for you as well, so you can start using these. But just to showcase here a couple of features you can start using for hazards. You can list them as objects in the register. You can just start picking and choosing them, and then describe the hazardous situation, the harm, the cause, and do even something that is a bit more complex for MedTech, especially like the assessment of probability of harm, probability of hazardous situation occurring. So these are very often known as P1, P2 probabilities. So you can use this type of risk models as well to do a very specific risk assessment, which is applicable for medical devices mostly. Failure modes very often is used for automotive and so on, where we go basically from bottom up, that we are looking into each function and how it can fail and what it can cause to the users then. So again, even very regulated companies like MedTech, FinTech, automotives are using this app currently. We have a long list of users in these domains as well. But let's not sidetrack ourselves. Let's look into now how we can configure what happens when you start the trial of the app. So what are the first steps for you to do? So for this, you started the trial. You always get 30 days free trial for any cloud apps, of course. All functionality will be there. You don't need to worry about what happens to my projects once my trial ends. If nothing will happen, the information will stay there. Of course, in Jira doesn't delete anything. But to start off, let's go to the main menu. Jira main menu is here. This is the project menu, and to the apps, and start configuring Risk Manager Plus app. One thing to mention here, first person who touches it needs to be Jira admin. So only Jira admins can enter the configuration part. This is just for safekeeping for you, because you don't want anybody to mess with your risk models and risk tables, believe me. But once you have a Jira admin going into here, but this person is not the specialist, the one who knows about risk models and risk tables, what type of information needs to go there. So the Jira admin can make their job a bit easier, going to the settings, going to the permissions, choosing the risk management permissions here, and granting permission to any of other users in Jira that can then modify the risk models and the risk tables. Be sure not to make too much, not to select too many people here. The central templates, you will need to control them so they are not modified and causing you any headache later on. Just to stay here for the settings menu for a bit, getting started. Of course, you will have lots of information, videos there to get you going. If needed, you can create a support zip here. You can integrate it to Confluence as well, because we have a Confluence app as an extension to this Jira-based app. This is where you get the reporting later on. I will show that as well. I hope I have the time today. And if you're a big company, you are using Jira assets, the integration can be done here as well. Then you don't need to think about our object registers, then you can readily use your existing Jira assets and link these to risks. Very often Jira assets is used to use in linkage of risks. And if you're very interested in the information security risk management, so this InfoSec risk dashboard is not visible when you first start the trial of the app. You need to go to the settings and enable it here. Then it loads all the object registers that are only needed for information security risk management. So you can do it here, just enable it, download a couple of missing components, and define your project if you're there already. You can come back to this later as well. But just the first step is to enable the information security portion. If you're going further, you might need to look into automation a bit, how to automate your risk management a bit. Then you can go to Automation Assistant, but again, a bit more advanced stuff here already. Let's look at the main things during this live demo. So first thing, usually what the user will do is look into the risk models. So this is the basis of the risk assessment in general. There will be templates, as I said, 5 or 6 templates at the moment for different purposes, like InfoSec risk model, hazard analysis, FMEA, and some project risk management as well. You can create your custom risk models as well. Just to show you quickly, what you will have as a starting point is you need to choose what type of model it is, if it can fit into a 2-dimensional matrix or a 3-dimensional matrix. Just a note here as well that this optimized 3-dimensional is very often used, but if you are in a very demanding MedTech situation where you need to have a full 3D with all the different options there, you're welcome to use the full 3D, as I call it. But in general, you can see the options are in the optimized table. You have 70 options. In the full table, you have 125 different options to map. And of course, the RPN scoring is very interesting to some companies who are wanting to add more characteristics and numeric values to this specific model. Just looking if I'm doing okay with the time and if there are any questions. No questions at the moment. Okay, let's move on then. If you have any, just send me a chat. I will be able to see them while I'm presenting. Just to take this easy case as a starting point, again, you can come back to us anytime you want to discuss any more complex setups. So choosing a model, clicking on it. If I want to have just one iteration, I can remove my residual risk assessment. If I want to call it differently, I click on it, I change the wording here. If I want to add more steps on the way, I can add a current target, however I want to call it. Now I have a question. Is the recording available later? Of course there is. Don't worry about this. I will send it via email as a downloadable link. And we have YouTube tutorials as well to guide you fully when you start managing your first project. And if you're still in trouble, you can always contact us. We will have a specific situation discussing your needed setup. Don't worry about this at all. Some predefined commonly used sets, just a suggestion here, just a quick apply here. And you can, but you can, as I showed you, you can add them manually as well. So let's go next. Now there's a time to configure the characteristics. So the main thing, do I call it severity? Do I call it impact? What is the naming convention that is known to my team? So I can call it impact instead. I can maybe delete the catastrophic one. I can rename the impact levels, and I can add descriptions as well. This is very handy if you need to do reporting later on. Then you will have the descriptions added to your report. So it's good to keep the descriptions clean and understandable to anyone who's interested. If you want to change the sequence, you're welcome to do that as well. And same for the other score, like the other input characteristic. If it's probability, if it's likelihood, again, you just replace it with a word that is commonly known in your organization. And of course, the descriptions and the level names as well. Next step, defining the risk classes, risk levels. Again, maybe it's not too obvious, but actually by clicking on any of the risk classes here, you can change the name of the risk class. You want to call it, maybe the green one is accepted. You can enter this as your risk class name as well. You want to call it low, you want to call it whatever it needs to be. You can call it, you can name it here. You can add more risk classes to make it even more detailed. And you can change the risk colors as well. And enter the descriptions, of course. Again, something that helps you with the reporting later. Now it's showing you, the next step is showing you the proposed setup of the risk model. If you, according to your internal procedures, this needs to be changed, you can change it accordingly. You can make the decisions based on the scenarios different. It will list all your defined risk levels once you have modified these. I will only have this ABC right now. So the last thing to do is give it a name, and it's usually very often dismissed as a simple thing to do, but later when you will have several different models, you want to have it named that the others will understand for what purposes I want to use this risk model. Is it a vendor risk model? Is it a project risk model that you want to be harmoniously applied in your entire organization? So make it easy for the other users, because they will not get access to the configuration pane. Make it easy for them to pick the right one. So this is just a warning. It's up to you, of course, what you want to name your risk model. But this is the last step that you need to do. Enter the name, see if everything is as expected, and there you go. You can confirm it. I'm not doing it right now. I have too many risk models in my instance. So we are happy with the risk model. Later, by the way, if you are a Jira admin or risk management admin, you will see the overall. What is the name? What is the type that was chosen? How many characteristics are in play here? And which models are using this specific risk model. And you can assign it to a project as well from the backend, basically. And more actions, of course, you can always delete the risk model that is not relevant in your organization. You can modify the setup as well, but you can delete them if you don't want to have too many risk models in front of you. And something new that we added just recently is you can also view risk model report here. So across different projects, what is the status of the different risk models? So you can pick relevant projects here or apply all, and then view report as a summary. How many, across different projects, how many risks do I have marked as high risks? So nice usability. Again, some more usability here. If you hover across, you can see also how many these specific risks in specific projects. A good overview, I would say. I will skip the risk tables right now for a moment because I want to discuss object registers first. If, again, something you were thinking about seeing it in a table in the beginning, you want to see how it's used. So object registers is I don't want to call it a database because it's not the database, but it's a list of elements that you want to be maintained centrally. So very often, again, assets is used in this format. I click on it, and I can see the full list of assets that have been defined. Databases, computers, brand, this is all pre-populated for you. It's up to you now to start building your actual asset list because we don't know your actual assets. This is per company. But the asset group you can define from a select list. You can add the asset description here, asset owner if it's applicable for your team, acceptable use, all this information. The structure of the data is readily available. You just need to start populating this data. And for the controls, as I said before, no, not control data. I want to see the ISO 27000 controls. This is already populated in format that you have a specific ID, you have a section where this control comes from, description, control group, and now your job is to do the applicability check. If this control is applicable in your organization, in your situation or not. And then select also the source of control that you have in place. If it's implemented or not, you can add some comments here, and you will be seeing the risks. Predominantly, these will be risks that are linked here to this specific asset. And in terms of scope, I'm not suggesting you need to use it very often, but if a certain control is not applicable in your organization at all, you can hide this from being used at all. That makes it shorter, the list. You have 94 different controls that are defined for you. If some of them are not applicable, you can reduce the list for your users, or you can just define here that this specific control is only applicable in a specific project. But if you don't want to limit that, you don't need to touch this scope at all. And let me answer live. Done. Okay. I clean this Q&A in front of me, then I will be seeing other notifications as well if they arrive. If you need to add more values, you can add more values, of course, by using this button here below the register. Not applicable maybe for controls, but for other types of registers, it can be applicable. And again, something you as an admin can see which projects are using this specific register. And you can assign owners as well and editors, and you can also revise the structure of the object register as well. And if you want to create your very specific object register, a new one, you can create it here. And this will give you the option to give the name, assign users who need to be in control of this specific register. And if you're thinking about different values that need to be entered to a specific object, then you can select from the information being the short text, long text, selects, if it's numeric value, if it's an assignee type of value, these are available for you. And this is visible, will define what type of information, which content will be seen in the risk table. As I showed you, the little arrow will help you to see the all information, but inside the table, what will be seen and will be readable in the table. So you can add new fields, you can name the columns of these fields, and the object register key will be automatic. You cannot define it, but I can give you a hint that if you start entering the name to the object register, you can notice here that it will be using the consonants of this word. So you can maybe tune into that a bit if you want to name your object register. Okay, that's it about object registers at the moment. Again, if you want to deep dive, be sure to contact us. Let's look at the risk tables. This is maybe the most complex thing to do here. But again, we have many templates readily available for hazard analysis, FMEA, project risk, info security risks, and some more. So you are welcome to just start assigning these to projects and testing these and seeing if they work for you. But you can always also configure this for your specific needs. Let's continue the ISO example. So each table, again, needs to have a specific name. Again, make it easy for your users. Then, if you're thinking about multi-sheeted table in advance, you can define a risk model per sheet. If you want to define an overall risk model, pick from the list. This will list the entire list of your risk models that you have in your instance. JQL filter, I'm not talking about this at the moment, just to mention they cannot be used in parallel. So if you're using a risk model, the JQL filter cannot be used. If you're not using a risk model, you can apply a JQL filter. It can be a bit confusing for staff. But building that table, it's column by column. Again, then it's good to start from something, start from templates, because you have some things that are ready-made for you. So you are building, column by column, and you can also maintain the sequence here, how they appear on your project site. So what sequence do the columns have? You can change it here centrally for the users, or you can change it from the project perspective, as I showed you, drag and drop into a different position then. But each of the column speaks to a different Jira field. And these Jira fields need to be applied here. Again, if you're not a Jira admin yourself, please ask your Jira admin to help you. You will have loads of different options here. It's easy to get lost. So first of all, we want to map all the risk management fields. If you have chosen a model, these fields will be coming from this model specifically. You don't have anything else to choose from here. If you want to change the options here, you need to change the risk model first. Let's see. Risk information security risk model is applied. I have the initial consequences, likelihood, current, and the initial risk class, and so forth. Risk progress, it will give you this nice colorful progress bar. General links will give you the traceability column. So these are specific to risk management app itself. While these are all picked, and you can rename the column headers, of course, you can design just by clicking on these what they will say. Then you can also link to different object registers. Then you will be able to use them inside your risk table. So very often, again, assets, all the object registers are listed here that you have. So it's up to you to select the right one. What do I want to use here? Then you are able to choose all the existing Jira fields, the main ones, assignee, description, updated, due date, all these different web links very often used as well. So you can use all these different existing Jira fields to create your custom table as well. And linking to other issues, then we are using issue links. So again, a separate column needs to be that is linking the mitigation actions. So you are selecting the is mitigated by, and then the link that you have add to this column is going to be the mitigation link issue for the risk. You can use all types of different link types here, but just scrolling to the end, user created fields. So what is this then? This is a custom field that is always known to Jira admins. You can design all types of custom fields for your instance, every type of select lists or text fields. Very often for process management, we don't have simply too many existing Jira fields that just include text. So we can create custom fields to incorporate these text fields here. And all these ready-made custom fields you can start using as a risk management admin who has access to this. If you don't have a specific custom field, what you really need for risk management, and you're not the Jira admin. If you are a Jira admin, you have a link to create the custom field from this spot. If you don't have, you need to go to your Jira admin, explain exactly what you will need. If you need it to be text, if you need it to be a select list or anything else. So you can either create it from the spot if you're a Jira admin. If not, contact your Jira admin in this case. Applying a name, just enter what you need to call this, what the users need to be seeing on the project side, and that's it. Basically, every column, you do it step by step to make the table as it should be. Okay, deleting this one at the moment. Adding a new sheet, just adding a new sheet here. And the job starts from the scratch, basically. You will have only the issue key and summary mapped for you in the beginning. These are minimum Jira fields that need to be there. Everything else needs to be created by using the add new column, selecting the Jira field, naming the column, and so forth. Again, we have tutorial for this. I don't need to go and repeat this action. So back to risk tables. You will be, as an admin, you will be seeing the overall of risk tables. I'm already using too much of your time. I apologize for this. If you're still here, bear with me for a couple more minutes. I'm just showing you the dashboard, very often used in Jira. You can create your dashboard. If you start using Risk Manager Plus, you will have two types of additional gadgets in your list: risk matrix, risk table. So you will have a good overview of your tables or your models coming from different projects. You can apply JQLs here as well. And if you are working with Confluence as well, you need to write your beautiful risk reports to your management team. Then you need to go to Confluence. And we have a specific app for reporting only. It's a free app. It's just linked to our risk management portfolio on Jira side. And you will need to go to your Confluence now, switch to Confluence. Then you will have the risk reporting that can include risk history over time, risk table, risk model. These are all macros that are being used on Confluence page. You can see it here. But when it comes to reporting, you might not only need macros, you might need to describe something in the middle. So you can enter, of course, other pictures, other text tables, everything you can do in Confluence. You just need to include the risk table macro to a right spot and update the page. And there you go, you will have your report ready-made, and you can later export this to PDF or Word and present your beautiful summary to the team. So again, just to summarize, I'm very happy that you found the time. I will send you the recording after as well, but just wanted to confirm a couple of things. Don't worry, you're not alone. If you start working with risk management and you find it a bit tricky to configure at first, you can have technical sessions with our experts to help you set up your risk management process in Jira. We can provide onboarding support for your team if you wish us to show them how to use the app. We have tutorial videos on YouTube. We have documentation on our homepage and knowledge base. And of course, the support portal is available for you to submit us any tickets that if you find anything is not working and not working as expected, or if you want to send us your improvement proposal. We are always looking into the improvement proposals as well. We are working with our customers very hands-on way. So if you have any questions, be sure to send them to me. You can write me an email, monica@softcomply.com. You can reach us via Atlassian Marketplace. You can start a trial, you can start testing, then set up a technical session and go into details on how exactly you will be able to move your risk management to Jira. Thank you for today, and sorry about these few extra minutes I kept you. Looking forward to meeting you in person in a more face-to-face situation maybe, and wish you best of luck and have a beautiful rest of your day.